Hello!
Hello!
Welcome back to the We're Just
We're
Girls
Just
podcast.
Girls.
We are your hosts,
Lana Hart.
and Aaron O'Day, and we're just girls who love to read!
We love to read.
We love reading books about fairies and smut!
Yeah,
And not a lie was told. So
Yep.
we love to read.
we do.
And we are going to talk about reading today.
That is the
And we're
plan.
going to talk about this book a lot
Yes,
because
this will be the main focus.
it's what I'm reading right now
Yes,
off of Lana's recommendation.
yes.
And
And then we'll discuss the series that I'm reading, which Erin has not read it, but I don't recommend that she reads it. So I'm just going to be talking about it. I'll make sure that we put the timestamps in for when we're talking about each book. So if you're reading ACOTAR and you don't want to hear what we have to say,
spoiler alerts ahead.
because we will be sparing no details.
Yes, we are going full detail.
Yeah,
on this.
I'll put timestamps in, so if you want to skip ahead to when we talk about my book, or if you just want to listen to when we talk about Silver Flames, you can skip around to wherever your heart desires.
Yeah, and we're going to jump around between some other books too.
Yeah.
Because I have so many books on my to be read
Yes.
list from Lana. She's just been being like, okay, you got to read this one,
This one.
and I just can't catch up. I can't.
Yeah.
Because I'm a new reader, guys. Ugh, crucify me. I'm a new reader. Throw me in jail. Lock me
Yep.
up. Take me away. I'm a new reader, okay?
But she's here.
Better late than never.
Mm-hmm.
Better late than never. And this was the first fantasy that I've ever, this series, ACOTAR, was the first fantasy that I've ever dove into. And
Yes.
I'll never, ever be able to read a normal book ever again.
It's life-changing once you get into fantasy books. It's
And
so hard to read anything else after.
And I hated ACOTAR.
Mm-hmm.
It took me so long to read that book. I hated it. I remember being like, can I stop? Like, do I have to keep
I'm
going?
like,
and you were like, keep
keep
going. You have
going.
to read it. And I'm so glad that I did. Like, this
I'm
one
like,
has been my
please.
favorite
I'm like,
through.
just power through.
And I'm so
through.
happy I did it. So if anyone's
Yes.
reading the first ACOTAR book, A Court of Thorns and Roses, and they're like, I can't do this anymore, just get through it. Okay.
Power
It's
through.
so worth it. It's so worth it.
The
It's so
second book, your life changes.
It's perfect.
It is.
You're like that. And it
That's
makes me so
exactly how I
happy,
feel.
and it's so hot and sexy,
I,
and
like,
it's so good.
cried reading the second book because I was so happy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was so,
It's such a
like,
beautiful
in
book.
love.
Oh my god, it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
Mhm.
And then the third one is so intense.
So good.
It's so good.
intense.
And it's very fast moving, I thought.
Mhm.
I read it while I was away in Iceland,
Mhm.
and it was also, side note, Iceland, if you've never been, put it on your bucket list. It's my favorite place ever on earth. It's so good. You have to go to Iceland. It's perfect. Anyway, I read that there, and it was a really, really rainy day. Like, we couldn't go anywhere, so we just stayed at our little Airbnb, and I read like the whole second half of the book that day, and I was wailing. I was sobbing, crying, sobbing. My fiance was sitting next to me, just like, he was just like rubbing my back, like, it's gonna be okay. And I'm like, no, it's not. No.
My favorite was when I got the text from your fiance of a picture of you reading in the pool, being like, "She won't talk to me now." He's like, "You broke her. She won't talk to me."
Because I also read it. Where else?
Hawaii?
Hawaii, yeah.
Yeah.
So I read it over 2 trips. I went to Hawaii and read like the first half, and then Iceland and read the second half. And yeah, it was phenomenal. And my poor fiance was like, I'm taking her on these trips, and she's not fucking talking to me. She's just reading these goddamn fairy books. She keeps being like, "Oh, Reese." He's like, "That's not my
Who the hell
name."
is Reese? I was like,
sorry, pal. He's your competition.
yeah.
But now, his competition is
Cassian.
I love Cassian
I love
so
Cassian.
much. Because, okay, Reese, he's beautiful. He's an amazing, I just love him so much. But Cassian,
Yeah.
I
I
love him.
love the silly one.
Mhm.
Like, the silly guys are always, which obviously for you, you're always the silly guy.
Yes.
So
yeah, I've never ever been attracted to a serious man in my entire life. Only the silly guys. Shout out my fiance. He's a silly guy.
he's the silliest goose of them all.
He's a freak. Just kidding. I love him. Yeah, but Cassian is I love him. Ew, I'm like, guys, the wedding's off. I can't marry my fiance because I'm in love with Cassian.
Yeah.
Just
people. So when it comes to Silver Flames, the way that I know if we're gonna mesh or not is if you like Silver Flames or not.
Yes.
I
love
still get along with people who don't love Silver Flames, but I know if you liked Silver Flames, we are the same person.
Out of all the books, this is my favorite so far, and I'm only on
and you're
chapter
still
23.
early. And normally, you're where you are now is at the part where people don't like it much because
at
it's
249. That's what page I'm on, and it's how far into the book I am, guys. Okay?
yeah. So a lot of people
see that?
still don't enjoy this part of the book, and then later in the book they start to like it.
I've loved it literally from the beginning. I was hooked, and you warned me. You were like, okay, I don't know how you're gonna feel about it, but there's like a lot of dark themes in it. There's a lot of like shows really deep depression, so you might not. It's gonna be hard in the beginning.
It can be hard,
and
yeah.
I've been hooked from the start.
Yeah.
I love it so much because Cassian was always my favorite out of the three Bat Boys. Hey, Bat Boys!
Oh.
Cassian was always my favorite, and I always had such a soft spot for Nesta, even though she is the biggest bitch.
Is the
She's
biggest bitch.
horrible. Like,
Yes.
she's such a bitch. But
we
I
love her.
Love her. I've always had such a soft spot for her. So the fact that they're the two main characters in this book, I love
so
it.
Nice. Yeah.
I love it.
If you don't like Nesta, you don't understand Nesta.
You don't understand
if
her.
you like Nesta, you've been a Nesta. And we have both been
We've been
Nestas.
We have. And we still are.
Yes.
And I just love her. I can relate to her, which maybe makes me sound like a horrible person, but like you said, if you don't get her, you don't
understand
get it.
Nesta, you've never been a Nesta. So, mini trauma dump here. When I read Silver Flames, I had read it like a year ago, so last January, and I was going through a really tough time with like personal stuff. I had gotten into arguments with people very close to me, and they had told me that I'm like really difficult to talk to, and I was rude, and I was like really mean and all these things, and like condescending. So horrible things to be said to me, which wasn't the most inaccurate, but because it also like I thought it was a bit of an overreaction, but, you know, because I know I can be a bitch. So I had just gotten into a huge fight with some people that had said those things to me while I was reading this book. So reading this book was like working through my trauma at the time.
Everyone's dumping on Nesta.
Because that's what Nesta's going through, and as you get more into the book, it like mentions it, like she lashes out on everyone because she's afraid and insecure, and she's hurting so much on the inside that she takes it out on everyone else. So
because she doesn't know how to deal with what's going on with her, and the only way she knows how to deal with it is by being mean to, like, putting that pain onto other people. And it's not healthy. It's not the right way to deal with things.
No.
But sometimes you
But
don't
can't
know
help it.
how else to deal with things. And I've been there. I've done that. Like, when I was first going through like puberty in 9th grade, I went through puberty pretty late. I went through puberty at the end of 9th grade, and I didn't know what was going on with me. My body was going through all of these changes, and I was freaking out, and I was weird, and I was being mean. I turned into a very mean person, and my mom was like, "There's something wrong with you," and sent me to therapy, which was honestly the right move. But I was like, just because I'm going through these problems that I don't know how to deal with yet, because I'm a 14-year-old girl who's going through all these hormonal changes and it's changing my whole life, my mom was like, "There's something wrong with you and you have to go to therapy now." I was like, "Wait, what?" what? Like, my sister went through this, and she didn't get sent to therapy, and she acted the same way. And I was like, I don't know what to do, and I was a little upset. So then I was even angrier.
Yeah, and then taking it out.
Yes, so I was taking it out on everybody, and if you get it, you get it.
Exactly. It's so hard, because if you haven't been in Nesta's shoes, you're just not going to get it.
Yeah.
You don't understand it, and if you have, and then if you have been in her shoes, it's like such a, oh my gosh, like this is exactly how I feel. And it's so hard to been there.
Explain those feelings to other people who don't get it. So like reading this book and being like, oh my God, this SJM relates, or not, even if she doesn't relate to it, she can get in that mindset. She understands it. And then there's so many people in the world who can relate to Nesta, and you're like, holy shit, it's not me.
Yeah.
So many other people feel this way and go through these things, and hopefully it's just a phase for most people. Yeah. And if it's not, oh well, that's fine. Whatever. Work it through.
Yeah.
But there's nothing wrong with going through a dark time and just, you need a little grace. Like, if you don't know how to, you need to find those healthy outlets.
Yeah.
But if you haven't found those healthy outlets, I don't really, like, the people around you are unfortunately going to suffer.
Reading and burying myself in a book and forgetting about everything else. So another reason why reading this during that time is great for me. The other thing about this book too is kind of where you have read so far. A lot of people don't like this book because it's very slow in the beginning. They're like, oh, it's all depressing, and she's just trying to do these fucking stairs every day over and over and over again.
Oh, the poor girl.
And she's just like, it's just the same thing on repeat, and it's so boring and depressing for the first like however many pages of the book. And I'm like, yeah, and I loved that, to be honest, because Nesta's so depressed, and I feel like it's such an accurate representation of what it feels like.
And
so I loved it.
That she's gonna get out of it, like, cause I don't know, I'm only in the first third of the book. Assuming she's gonna get out of this depression, it'll be so cool to see how long she was so dark and what she does to get out of it, and how she is after she gets out of it. Like, that's what I'm hoping. Like, I love a slow burn, whether it's romantical or with Nesta.
Like,
it's
character development.
Yes,
yeah.
I love a slow burn. I freaking love it.
Yes.
So I kind of enjoy, not that I enjoy seeing Nesta like suffer, but I'm like, okay, I like getting in her mindset. I like seeing
so
what
then you can see
through.
how far she comes.
Yes. And also there's sexual tension between Cassian and Nesta the entire time, because it started in book 2. I thought, like, I remember when they
the first time they met,
I was like, okay, they're gonna get together.
Yeah, you
I just know it.
texted me the first time they met, being like, Cassian and Nesta, and I was like, oh, interesting.
You're like,
but
I don't know, I can't say anything about it. That's weird. I'm like, no, I already know, it's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there's been
the tension was there
tension
immediately
between them from book 2. So I've been hooked because of that. I've been waiting for Nesta and Cassian. I've been waiting to see it. I've been begging for it and praying for it, and it's finally happening. So I'm just enjoying every moment of this book.
Yeah.
I'm like, even if it's slow in the beginning, I'm enjoying every second of it.
Yeah.
I'm loving it. I don't want to put it down. And I'm obsessed with it.
It's
my one beef though, as like I was saying, that I like that it's not focused on Rhys and Feyre.
Yeah.
Because I love them and I loved their story, but we got 4 books from their point of view. I like that this one is about the side characters and getting to see deeper into these characters. But, spoiler alert, everybody, I'm going to say things, okay? I'm pissed about the way that we find out that Feyre's pregnant.
Yeah.
She was just like, I can't look for the cauldron. I'm pregnant.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I read 4 fucking books about these 2, and that's how you tell me she's pregnant? I want to see them find out. I want to see Feyre telling Rhys. I want to see Rhys's reaction. I want to see the whole reason why he puts her in this freaking shield for months. I'm furious about it. I'm so furious about it.
I do agree that I think it would have been cool to see when they found out and everything and all of that. A lot of people hate the pregnancy trope, though, and don't, like, so many people don't want to read about someone being pregnant, which
Fair
like
enough.
which I would have to agree. Like I don't want to read a whole book of her being pregnant.
Yeah, but if
I think it would have been nice, even if like
they put it at the
put
end
it
of
in Frost and Starlight or something of
that
them
would have
finding
been
out.
perfect. If that's how Frost and Starlight ended, because it pretty much ended with her being like, all right, let's start trying to have a baby. And Reese was like, oh, well, it could take forever. So I wasn't even thinking that was going to happen anytime soon.
Yeah.
But she could have so easily put that at the end of Frost and Starlight, them finding out that they're pregnant, and then moved on to this book and it barely even acknowledged it. But that was such a huge deal to find out that these two are about to have a child together, and it's the little bone carver's little vision of the little boy. Like, I just wish I don't like the way that I found out that they were pregnant. I'm pissed about it.
Yeah, I would have to agree that the way you find out, it's kind of crazy.
It's just
and
I
wish,
oh, we're pregnant.
I wish like we could have seen when they found out, but a lot of people think this book had to happen so Feyre could be pregnant and have
the whole pregnancy
and,
it not
and
be,
go
like,
through
focus.
that but not be the focus.
Yeah.
So because like
and
that's what a lot of people say who don't like Silver Flames. They're like, okay, well this book had to happen so they could have their.
I also did love seeing like Cassian's reaction to them being pregnant, and then him and Az like talking in the little library or the little room that they have in the House of Wind, and they're like, we're gonna be uncles.
Yeah, like, that part was so cute.
It's so cute them finding out. I loved that. And then freaking Nesta being a bitch again when Feyre was like, I wanted you to be the first to know it's a boy. And she was like, oh, what? Because Elaine guessed that you were pregnant, so you have to even the playing field. And Feyre was like, you're my sister. Can I not just want to share something with you? But again, that's Nesta like hiding herself, and she's hurt that Elaine picked Feyre over her because Elaine and Nesta were always buddy. And now Elaine's closer to Feyre, and she's like, what the fuck? Like, Nesta's pissed about it. So then she's just taking out that anger on Feyre.
Yeah.
And it's just so complicated. And she's just such a complicated person.
A traumatized queen. My one friend makes fun of me because anytime I'm reading a book and I'm like, oh, I really love this main character of this book, and he's always like, yeah, because she's a traumatized person, or like I'll be telling him about like what the character's like, I'm like, I guess she is a heavily traumatized queen, and it's like, oh,
traumatized.
There it is. That it makes sense on why I love the main character.
I literally wanted to be a therapist. Like clearly I'm attracted to traumatized people.
Oh my gosh, you're gonna love Throne of Glass.
I can't wait.
The trauma in that book,
and also
crazy.
I realized that like shows like One Tree Hill, like that's my favorite show of all time ever. All of like the darkest, most traumatic episodes are my favorite episodes. All of them. Like those are my favorite episodes.
It partially goes along with like the character growth. Too of like seeing how the character develops, like works through their trauma.
In our brains that we love the trauma and we love the dark stuff
because we love to relate
and we love to
it's the character growth. We love to see them get out of it.
With our traumas is to read about worse traumas and to watch worse traumas, and then we're like, okay, well, our stuff can't possibly be that bad. Then I can get through having to fold my laundry. If Nesta can walk 10,000 steps, I can fold my laundry. I love it. I love it.
That's true. I can't wait for you to read Throne of Glass.
I know. I have the whole box set. I got it for
Christmas. That one's a traumatizing one. But with this book...
Which one you said I have to read which one before Throne of Glass?
Fourth Wing.
Okay.
You have to read Fourth Wing, which... Onyx Storm. I'm going to wait to read Onyx Storm, I think, until you read Fourth Wing.
Okay.
This is the third one that just came out.
Is it the last one?
No, it's an unfinished series, which it's so bittersweet. That was my first time ever reading an unfinished series, and when I finished the second one, I was like, "What do I do?" Like, I'm so used to like when I finish my series, the series done.
Yep.
But I'm like, I don't know what's gonna happen, and I have to wait all these months.
Because do they end on like cliffhangers?
Yes.
Because I was gonna say, isn't this technically an unfinished series?
Yeah, but like it ends. Feels like
it wraps up.
Yeah, like like I'm so excited for the next book, but it's not like I'm waiting being like, oh, what's going to find. Like there are some things that are like some loose ends and things that I'm definitely still like curious about and that I want to find out about. But like the way the second book, Iron Flame, ends was like jaw dropping, and then it was like, oh, I have to wait.
That stinks.
But yeah, but it is fun though because then there's so many theories to talk about. So that's why I'm going to wait to read Onyx Storm, because obviously you're going to have to wait for the next one. But if we read it around the same time, then we can talk theories.
Oh my God.
And I'm so excited to talk theories, which that was a life-changing thing. Was like I'm scrolling on like TikTok and Instagram and seeing everyone and their different theories because like SJM, she does a really good job of like putting in little details throughout the entire story to hint at what's to come. So
I'm so excited.
Yes. And let me tell you, if you like enemies to lovers,
and I do,
you're gonna love Fourth Wing.
I'm gonna go nuts. I'm gonna go buck wild. I've recently discovered that about myself, that enemies to lovers is my favorite romantic trope.
Yeah.
I didn't know that about myself until this book.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, yeah.
And boy, if you like that, I got some recommendations for you.
So I wish I'm going to try, after I finish this book, I'm going to try reading more than one book at a time to see if I can, just because I have, but you said I shouldn't even bother doing that, because I feel like I have so many books that I have to read and want to read. So I'm like, oh my God, I might not be able to, if I have to finish reading this book and then read the Fourth Wing books and then read Throne of Glass books, it's going to take me a year before I can read all those books. I'm a very slow reader. I'm a very slow reader. Like on Goodreads, I set my year 2025 reading goal to literally like 7 books because I'm such a slow reader. And I'm just getting into it, okay? Stop judging me, please. I can feel it, okay? Stop judging me. So
you're not in the habit of just like picking up a book whenever you're free.
I've been really good this week about I don't think I've watched TV. Actually, I watched Great British Baking Show earlier this week. But I'm trying to break the habit of when I have free time, instead of watching TV, I pick up my book and I read. And I've been doing much better about it this week.
Yeah, when you really get into the habit and like into a book, it's so much easier.
Yeah, like all I can think about is this freaking book.
There was a while where I was like, I haven't watched TV in like 2 months.
Yeah.
I went 2 months without watching a single ounce of TV.
And I'm such like a chronic TV watcher.
Yeah, because normally I am too. And I was like, this is weird, because literally if I'm not doing anything, I'm sitting here and reading. The only time I do like to prefer to watch TV is obviously like if I'm like doing chores or stuff, because unfortunately I can't read while I do those. But
I know. I was even... I'm thinking about trying audiobooks, but knowing my ADHD brain, I won't be paying attention. Like, if I'm trying to listen to an audiobook while I'm folding laundry or something, I will be, I'll get, like, sucked into the folding laundry aspect and not be hearing at all what I'm listening to. Or if I'm doing the dishes or something. So, I'm too afraid to try.
Props to anyone who likes audiobooks. I cannot do audiobooks because I find them so, like, cringy and like funny. Like listening to it and listening to them try and do the voices or like trying to sound sexy, I'm like, I was trying to look up
the audiobook for this so that I could be listening to it while I was reading it, because I've been seeing a lot of like people with ADHD recommend doing that, because I will lose my train of thought and have to reread a paragraph 3 times because I'm like, wait, I'm not paying attention. I don't remember what they said. So I have to reread a paragraph 3 or 4 times before I get it. So I was like, maybe I'll try listening to the audiobook. And I just looked it up on YouTube, and it was like, it literally was like AI. So it was just like just flat across. And I was like,
they have like
do this
dramatic like
readings
where it's like actors, they have sound effects, everything. Like,
that's what I would need to get into.
They have that, which if I were to do it, I would need that, but I still don't think I can. I can do audiobooks when I read like thriller books and stuff, and there's no romance in it, but For like
Yeah,
fantasy and romance, I can't.
I would
do.
feel a little bit weird listening to someone read about some of the scenes in this book.
Yeah, exactly.
So my other thing is, I know you do this too. Put on the ACOTAR ambiance on YouTube.
On YouTube,
just find an
on
like the one I've been doing is Winter Solstice in the townhouse in Valeris, or however you pronounce it. I don't know how to pronounce anything in this book. That's the other problem.
The one thing that audiobook listeners have the advantage to is they know how things are pronounced. I don't. If we mispronounce anything, it is what it is, and it's not going to change.
Who's the like lord or the like death lord at the lake? Koschei? I don't know how to pronounce that name. It's Koschei. He's the death lord that's like trapped at the lake and working with the one human queen.
Couldn't tell you.
Sometimes like, I have no clue.
No, I know who you're talking about, but
how
like,
to pronounce it?
Yeah, no, because sometimes I'm the type of person where if it's really complicated, I'm just like, and
that's exactly what I've been doing. That's exactly what I've been doing. Yeah,
I've been just,
I'm like, Koshigation. That's how I pronounce it in my head. I'm reading it, I'm like, and Koshigation.
Yeah.
And then he went to the lake.
Because I always mispronounce, Lucian?
Yeah.
Is that how you actually say it? I always mispronounce it.
I think I say Lucian too.
No, that's how you're supposed to. I think I always read it as Lucian.
Oh,
so
like I read it either as Lucian or Lucian.
Yeah, it's one of those.
I don't remember.
But I fully mispronounced it. One of the most. This is for Throne of Glass. The most like mind-blowing one that I ever heard when I was reading it a certain way and then realized I was wrong was the place in Throne of Glass. Mm-hmm. It's spelled Adarlan. Mm-hmm. So I was like a darling, whatever, something like that. Apparently, according to the audiobooks, it's pronounced like Otterland. And I was like, huh?
I did that with Prithian, the first 3 books. I thought there was another N in there. I was just reading it wrong. I thought it was Printhian the whole time until the 4th book, until the mini book where I was like, it's not Printhian. I was reading it wrong this whole time.
It's so hard to like change your.
Also in the first book, I thought his name was Tamlin, but it's actually just piece of shit.
I was like, that's not his name.
No, it's piece of shit.
It's piece of shit.
So I
tampon.
Yeah, it's fucking tampon. Oh my god! Remember when I was like, "Oh, Tamlin," and you were like,
"I'm like, oh yeah."
You're like, "Sure, okay."
Yeah, we all go through it. Everyone has to go through it.
I remember being so excited starting the 2nd book because I was like, "Oh my god, Tamlin gave Feyre an emerald engagement ring, and I have an emerald engagement ring," so I was like so excited about it, and now I'm like. I'm kidding. I love my engagement ring. It's my favorite thing on planet Earth.
It is.
But I remember being like, oh my god, Tamlin and Feyre.
And then it literally like melts off her face.
I know. I'm like, and now she has a sapphire one. So we're still gemstone girls. We're not diamond girls. Me and Feyre. We've got that in common.
There was something else that I was thinking we had to discuss with this book, and I'm trying to remember.
I remember something that I wanted to discuss.
Oh, yes.
Eris. And I don't hate him. Yeah. I feel like I'm really supposed to not like him, but I kind of trust him and think he's gonna.
Kinda hot.
Yeah, he is, and I'm afraid that I might fall in love with him. That's my biggest fear right now. But I feel like he's like this douchebag, and he's like he comes off as this really bad guy, and obviously Moore has every reason to like hate him. But then the last time he showed up in the book at the point where I'm at was when he met Cass and Rhys in the spring court, and they were just like talking about what's going on with Baron or Baron, however you pronounce Eris's dad's name, and what he's doing with the human queens, whatever, blah blah blah. And Cassian was like, "You left Moore for dead," and Eris says something like, "Did I? Why didn't you ask Moore what really happened?" So now I'm like, what? So now I need to know what's going on with that, because I get the feeling that I had about Nesta, where I'm like, I don't think she's actually that bad. That's how I'm feeling about Eris right now, and it's really confusing me because every other time he's ever been mentioned, I'm like, oh my God, he's the worst. He's horrible.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, is he really?
It's like, wait.
What's happening?
I know. I can't
And I
wait
don't
for
know
you
what
to
to
get
think.
further in the book so we can really
I've been reading like a fiend because
delve into it.
I need to know what's going on.
Yeah, it's such a good book.
Oh,
But
and
yeah,
the other
Eris
thing
is
I love
kinda
about this book,
hot.
I know, I'm like
Mhm.
weirdly attracted to him, and I don't know how that
It's
makes me
like,
feel.
wait
Like
a
it makes
second.
like I feel kind of gross about it, but I'm like,
But
fine.
sorry, it is
Oh,
what it
fine, Eris. I'll
is.
kiss you on the lips. It's fine.
It's fine.
But I also I love that how many times they have said silver flames or like flame of silver or silver fire or something. I love how much they're mentioning the title of the book, because I love when books and shows and movies and songs do it. When they mention the title, I'm like, oh, I love it. It's so cool. So the fact that I'm only on page 240 or whatever it was, and they've mentioned it like 15 times, I'm loving it. I love that.
There's some theories about it too, which we'll have to discuss once you
Get
further, read some other books.
And the other thing about this book, when I was reading Frost and Starlight, I said to you, I was like, I hate the third person. I hate that it's written in third person. I can't read this. And you were like,
I was like,
no.
I was like, she's gonna hate Silver Flame.
But now I love it. I think it's genius, and I kind of wish every other book was in third person, because
most books are.
You get like both perspectives, but also just like an objective third person view as well. Like I've noticed anytime it's like kind of a dirtier scene, it feels like it's neither of their like inside their head point of views, but it's just narrating what's happening while also telling what both of them are kind of feeling. I don't know how to describe it. I don't think I'm describing it right, but I'm loving the third person now. I'm loving it. I hated
That's
it.
good, because the entirety of Throne of Glass is third person.
Okay, well, good, because I'm hooked on it now.
Yeah,
I love the third person.
It was an adjustment. The only thing that I didn't love about the third person was I wish they still put like the names on it.
Yes.
So you knew who it was, because there will be times where I'm going in thinking I'm reading like Nesta and it's actually Cassie, and I'm like, oh, now I gotta restart and go back.
These little guys like kind of break it up.
Yeah, but like it's like the start of like
cross things. That
anytime
happen.
It's like a new chapter.
Yeah,
or something,
you don't know who it is.
Or
when it's starting.
when you're in Throne of Glass, there's so many more characters. Like at least this, it's kind of like it's the two, and it's obvious if it's like a guy or if he's at like the camp or something.
It just takes me like the first two or three sentences to figure out whose head I'm in.
Throne of Glass, there's so many characters that you switch back and forth between that. There are times where it's like
the other thing I need to do is start taking notes. I've been reading on my iPad too more recently, so I need to start like taking notes, and so that I can follow and track back, because there are so many times when I wish I was like that girl who would like annotate her things and write like little thoughts.
I don't like it. I just want to read. Because I don't understand people who really annotate that much, because when I'm in the story, I just want to keep reading the story. I don't want to take a second to write something. Like, no, I just want to fucking read.
Sometimes I wish I could, because I saw TikTok, like some girls are like, do you annotate your books or whatever? Or do you write like notes in the margin? And this girl's like, yeah. And like then she flips through her margin notes, and it's like, duh, or like, oh my God, or like, holy hell, like stuff like that.
Silly things like that.
That's how I would write in the books.
Would be mine.
Because there are times where I'm like, duh. And I'm like, I kind of want to just write that.
One of the favorite things that I did with the tandem read in Throne of Glass was, because I read that almost entirely on my iPad in the Kindle app, I added like notes, and doing notes on the iPad I feel like was easier because I could just like quickly type them, and mine were like, oh no shit, like stuff like that, and be like, oh no, my fucking God, like shit like that. Yeah. So I'll show you my notes as you read Throne of Glass.
Yes,
but
I can't wait.
Yes. But I did enjoy being able to like go back and look at them, but they could only be like stupid little notes. And it was easier to just like type it than like have to like get out stickies and write it. And
the other thing I love about reading on my iPad, though, I literally just discovered this. This is like my third book reading on my iPad, but I just discovered this. When I don't know what a word is, I can just hold it down and click look up, and it tells me the definition. That's genius. That's been changing my life.
Yeah.
And I've only started doing. I figured it out last night while I was reading. I'm like, why haven't I been doing this the whole time? There have been so many words that I've been like, well, I don't know what that means. Let's move past it.
Yeah.
And it would have helped me understand the book and the characters a lot more.
I love it too. If you get like an actual, not just like the PDF, but like one that you can have in your Kindle, I love it too because you can do it with characters or something. Like if I forget a character, like if they were mentioned at the beginning of the book and now it's page 400 and I haven't heard of them in 400 pages, you can do it where you click the thing and it does like an x-ray through the book and it'll tell you like the first time they're mentioned and like something related to them.
Oh my God,
so then I'm like,
oh
yeah, this is who this person is if I completely forgot.
I keep getting confused who the other High Lords are and of what court they are. Like, because I just keep saying their name, like Helion or however you pronounce it, and Callius or however you pronounce it. And I keep forgetting who's who and who's married to who or who's mated with who or whatever. And I keep getting so confused about that. That would be life-changing for me.
I'll have to like find like the book. We're here for the vibes. We read for the vibes.
We read for the vibes. Like they're referencing so many, like they keep referencing Nesta's power that she displayed during the war. And I can't remember what power she showed during the war. She protected Cassian from that blow, right? Was that the only like real big power that she? I can't remember. Like they keep being like, we know you have
that
power.
I read it. I'm like,
and it wasn't even that long ago for me. It was in October that I was reading it. So
I do that
it wasn't long at all for
like,
me.
huh?
But I'm like, I can't remember what power she displayed that they're all that they won't shut up about it. I just can't remember.
In the first book.
Of this?
of ACOTAR. Did you solve the riddle?
Oh, yeah.
Or did you just read it and move on?
No,
and
I solved the riddle instantly.
Yeah.
It was so obvious.
It was so obvious,
It was
right?
so obvious.
Okay.
It was love, right?
No, yes,
wasn't that the answer?
No offense to anyone who didn't get it. I didn't put a single drop of thought into solving the riddle. I just read it and I was like,
love.
Oh, this is it.
It was the first thing that came into my mind.
This is going to be so stupid if this is it because it's that obvious.
That's what I was thinking.
That's the only thing.
Can't possibly
I'm like,
be
it can't
the
be
answer.
it because that's too obvious and stupid. So no offense to anyone who like read the riddle and was like, I can't solve this, or it's not my business to solve it. Pharaoh will solve it, not me. I don't know. I thought it was really obvious.
I did feel that way though, where I'm like, well, it's not my job to solve it. I just want to see what the answer is going to be. But in my head, I was like, it's love.
I didn't put any thought into it. I just read it and I was like,
the answer.
Yeah.
I was like, that can't possibly be true. Let's see what Feyre comes up with. And then it took her 25 years. Ugh.
Yeah.
She's illiterate and couldn't read. Oh, that was so funny. And Lucian's like, he's about to get crushed and he's like, are you fucking kidding me?
I'm about to die because she can't read.
Oh, that's
fucking
classic.
Illiterate human and I'm about
poor
to
girl.
die.
That was crazy. That's when I really, really started to fall in love with Rhys. I was like, Rhys was helping her with that.
When you go through and find out like everything that he did and like being in love with her and all.
What was that, chapter 52?
54.
Yeah.
Because 55 is when they do it.
Yep. Chapter 54.
Right after she has him eat the soup. And then
she says, here, Rhys, eat this little soup that I made you. And then
eat it.
And then he throws her down on the table and has his way with her. And you know what? It's awesome. Yes. Guys, stop being prudes.
Okay, well, I need to tell you about the book I'm reading real quick. No, you're good.
So
but it kind of goes along with this. So I'll get more. Oh, I don't even think I ever said the series I was reading. No. I am reading the Plated Prisoner series. The first book is called Gild, so you might know it from that.
Never
and then
heard of it, if I'm being honest.
The one I'm on right now, I'm on the last book. It's called Goldfinch. They're all like gold related. I was telling you about this series. It's the one with like the King Midas retelling. I'll get more into the actual story itself, but right now this series is so love-hate for me because so many people really like this series, and in some ways I kind of understand because I love the plot of these books. Like, I think these books have so much potential. Like, if you had SJM write these books, I think they would have been incredible. The plot of the books I'm loving. The main characters I love. The character development I love. But I think there's too much fluff. I think they're a bit too long. Like the first 2 books should have just been 1 book, I think, and or just not as many pages. But right now I'm kind of frustrated because there's this one romance. It's one of the side romances happening right now. And when it first started to happen, I was so excited because I was like, oh, it's giving Cassian and Nesta vibes. Because like, so the commander of like the army, his name's Osric or something, I'm probably mispronouncing it, and he's the big brute, like he's just like he's like the massive guy, the longer hair in his bun, and he's just like, oh, I'm grumpy mean commander army brute guy. And so he's the commander of the army, and then it's so hard to explain who these people are without you having read it. And then there's a girl, her name's Rissa, who was one of the saddles in the kingdom, which saddles are like the nice way that they say prostitutes pretty much. So she was one of the royal saddles, so she was like one of the king's saddles, and she wanted out of that life, so the main character had helped her like escape that, and then she had to leave the kingdom that they were at and travel back with the army to get back to their own kingdom. And like they had like the, oh, we hate each other, or, oh, you're like the worst, but like I'm kind of really attracted to you, and like they're like yelling at each other but like really turned on while they're screaming at each other, like, saying that they're the worst.
Tension, but like no like emotional.
No,
like,
they did, but the thing was, so it was giving kind of Cassian and Nesta, and I was so excited, and they like teased it at the beginning of the last book that I had just read, and then for like the entire book you just don't even see them again, pretty much. Like there's like 3 chapters about them, and then they like kiss, and then Rissa's like, oh, let's just like bang and get it out of our system so I can stop fucking thinking about you all the time. And Osric is like, no, like I don't want to be a regret. Like if we bang, it's going to be the best mistake you've ever made. Like he's like, I'm not gonna, he's like, I'm not just gonna have you bang me out of your system. And then like you just don't see them for the rest of the freaking book until they get to the kingdom pretty much. Weird. And then when they're at the kingdom, Rissa gets stabbed and is like on her deathbed because she gets stabbed like in her heart. So then for like months she's on her deathbed, and Osric is like losing his mind. He's like, she can't die, I'm so in love with her, like going batshit crazy. I'm like, bitch, you barely fucking knew her. Yeah, like I get it, but at the same time I just think I hate how we missed all the tension. Yeah. Like it set it up so nicely, and then just never mention them again, and then suddenly he's like fully in love with her while she's on her deathbed. Ew. And now the chapter I'm on is they're banging for the first time. But I'm just like I wish I was more enjoying it, but it's just I'm like it felt too rushed, it felt too fake, and exactly. I was like just so upset because I'm like I just felt like this was like they're like, oh, I love you, and I'm like, bitch, you've had like 5 conversations with each other. Yeah, like you didn't have all the. So I'm kind of frustrated with that, but I will say I'm not too mad because the romance that I wanted to happen had disappointed me, but the romance I didn't know that I needed has been epic. Let me tell you, because there was this one character, she was the absolute worst. I tried to like her. Horrible. And then this stuff happened. She had a change of heart, and then she's like becoming a better person because of this assassin who tried to kill her because her ex-husband, the king, had hired the assassin to kill the queen, and he came to kill her and then didn't kill her, and then just like he ended up saving her from being a prisoner, and now they were like traveling together, and then they finally were like, wait, we kind of like each other, but like whoa, they have such like a fiery little like whoa, he likes to like hold a knife to her throat. Whoa! But like it's like tension.
Whoa!
Yeah, they haven't banged yet or anything, but it's the romance I didn't know I needed, so it makes up for the one that was really disappointing.
Holy heck!
But
whoa.
So this book series
has
I don't know if I recommend it or not. The plot's really good, but it's just
it's letting you down a
little. This is the one where I had you read that one spicy chapter.
Oh, yeah.
The one that I had you read. Yes, that's this series. So
that was crazy.
The spice is
the one that I read
when
when we were leaving that place.
Yeah, to go out to the bar. Yeah, and you were reading it out loud with your fiance.
And he was just like,
he's like, what the hell? Yeah.
It was crazy. It was fun. It was,
So this series, if you're thinking about reading, if you can push through something that you're not fully in love with, I guess read it, because I do really like the plot, and this last book, it's getting better.
Yeah.
Like, I'm finally... There's like 6 books in this series, and like
nice.
The 5th and 6th book when I was finally like, yeah, I'm liking this series. But then and like the other books are like 600 pages, 700 pages. Yeah, that's why I'm like, as much as I
barely get through the first ACOTAR
I'm
book.
like, as much as I wish you could read this book, I'm like, you would hate it.
Yeah.
You would never get through it. It's not worth it if you struggle getting through books like that.
Not for me.
So, but if you can, just power through. It is a good
maybe a few years down the road.
It's
got a couple years of reading under my belt.
Once you become a professional.
Maybe once I learn how to read.
It's like, do you like how I've just been sipping my Dr. Pepper?
Yeah, I've been so jealous of it.
Yeah,
I almost have stupid water.
It's like, I'm so sorry. I did almost ask if you wanted one when I stopped,
okay.
but
because I would have said yes, and I shouldn't say yes.
Yeah, I know.
Gotta get that wedding weight.
I'm such a bad influence, but
you are always.
I'm a little hungover today, so I was like, I need my motherfucking Dr. Pepper, or I will not function. And let me tell you, sorry, this is just a little side tangent, not even book related. It's Dr. Pepper related.
We love it.
But
we drop kick a child for Dr. Pepper.
Exactly. It's more soda related. Me and my boyfriend have a constant argument about the best way to drink soda. What is your favorite way to drink soda? Can, bottle, or fountain?
Honestly, probably fountain is my favorite.
Fountain is without a doubt the best, in my opinion. Because obviously, I'm sitting here with my fountain.
Then you have to like put it into the you have to pour it into a glass, or there's no ice in it, so it's warm if it's not like refrigerated. And if it is refrigerated, it's not as like carbonated, and it feels like flat and just not good. And then the bottle is like fun, but I haven't drank out of a bottle of soda in years, so I really can't even take that into consideration if I'm being honest.
I don't think they taste as good.
So because I've really only either have can or... Oh, I guess like the plastic bottle.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I thought
like
for some reason I was thinking like the old school Coca-Cola like glass bottle.
I was thinking like the plastic bottle.
Oh, I'm dumb. Yeah, I don't like the plastic bottles either, because then that's too carbonated. Because of the like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. What is this? What am I trying to say here?
I don't know.
What am I trying to say with this? Fountain is my answer.
Okay, yes, good.
And what does your boyfriend say?
Bottle. Like, he thinks bottle is the, literally. He thinks bottle is the best way.
Are you getting this? Are you getting this?
We're getting more unhinged as time takes by.
Your boyfriend's going to watch this and be like, they're done.
He thinks bottle is the best way to drink it. And I'm like, no.
I've never liked his opinions.
I have never
I'm kidding.
I've never once agreed with him on anything.
No. He's kind of like one of my enemies.
But like when I like go, like I got this from Wawa, and I discovered this because I'm getting myself a fountain soda, and I also like the fountain soda specifically at Wawa because or anytime it's on like the machine.
Thing,
because I like to put some vanilla in my Dr. Pepper. So which exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Thank you.
And I can't do that with the bottle.
No, you can't.
But so I was filling up my Dr. Pepper, and my boyfriend was like, "Oh, can you get me a Dr. Pepper Zero?" I was like the zero sugar one, and I'm looking at the machine. I'm like, they don't have Dr. Pepper Zero on here. I'm like, I know they have Dr. Pepper Zero at Wawa. I'm like, I don't see it. And he's like, it's with the black writing on the bottle. I'm like, wait, you want a bottle, not a fountain?
Also, aren't the fountain ones cheaper than the bottles?
Yeah.
So then there's your answer.
Yeah. And also just McDonald's Dr. Pepper is the best. So that's another reason why the fountain is the best. But yeah. So anyways, I just had to make sure I wasn't the fucking
fountain
crazy
soda
one.
rules is and Silver Flames
rules.
And reading is cool. And reading is fun.
Yeah. And it's how we cope with our
traumas. Yes, we're gonna wrap this up. Is this like is there an alarm gonna go off in 5 seconds?
I hope not. I don't think so.
Let's wait and find out.
Happy New Year.
It just blinks.
Yes.
That's our little timer over there. Okay, we're gonna wrap this up. So thanks for listening. If you have any book recommendations for me, a newbie reader,
or for me,
or for a very experienced reader, how many books did you read last year, Lana?
32, 37, 30.
I think it was 37.
37, maybe?
That's what I've been hearing on the streets. Is 30. It's like I just put my foot in the shot.
What the hell?
Sorry if you guys saw my foot. Our producer's making a fool of himself back there, like, get that out of there. Sorry, guys. Anyway,
that's for all you people
so if
who
you have
like
any
feet.
book recommendations for a newbie reader or a very experienced reader, please let us know, because not that I need any more recommendations, but I want them.
Yes, and we'll talk more books. We'll probably go back and forth between having episodes like we did last week and episodes like this where we talk books. We'll rotate through them.
And if you have any
theories, comments, anything
about
if you want to know our opinions on something specific on any of the books that we didn't cover, ask us.
Or if you have any books that you would like to hear us talk about, and if we have read them, we'll talk about them. If we haven't, then we'll read them and talk about them. So
thanks for joining the book club.
Yeah, this book club episode, and it was so much fun. And yeah, just follow, subscribe, share,
follow, subscribe.
Share this with your best friend. And
I share it with my best friend.
And I share it with my best friend.
And go motherfucking birds.
Go birds.
Go
birds.
Go Eagles.
Go Eagles. Go birds.
I'm so sorry
go
if that
Saquon.
makes you hate
go
us.
Jalen.
I don't care.
We don't care.
We're birds fans till we die.
And go birds. And
fuck the Chiefs. Fuck the Chiefs. Even if you're not a Birds fan, fuck the Chiefs. motherfucking Chiefs. Sorry, I've said so many F-bombs in the past 5 seconds, but it's football and it's the Eagles.
Yeah, so fuck the Chiefs.
Anyways,
go birds. And we're just girls.
Go
Love
birds.
you.
Bye.